Welcome back. I'm Lauren Simonetti. This is Small Business Wednesday. Let's talk some more. Let's debate the State of the Union. We're set up to do that. We have on set Sam Caucci with the Sales Huddle Group, a sports training firm. Sam, I want you to meet Mike Bray, joining us from Washington, D.C. Thanks, Mike, for coming on again. You're with HobbyWorks.
Yep. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Okay, great. Good to see you guys. I know you have different points of view about what the president told the nation about the next 4 years last night. I want to start with what he said on tax reform and reforming the tax code. Let's listen to the president.
The American people deserve a tax code that helps small businesses spend less time filling out complicated forms and more time expanding and hiring. A tax code that ensures billionaires with high-powered accountants can't work the system and pay a lower rate than their hard-working secretaries. A tax code that lowers incentives to move jobs overseas and lowers tax rates for businesses and manufacturers that are creating jobs right here in the United States of America. That's what tax reform can deliver. That's what we can do together.
And he got a standing ovation from the Vice President. All right. Since you're on set with me, we'll start with you, Sam. Your thoughts on that?
Great. I think that anything we can do today to make it easier for small businesses to spend time in their business, working on things that generate revenue, working on their operation, is positive.
Yeah.
So simplifying the tax code is absolutely a no-brainer.
How are you affected by the tax code? How many hours, how much money do you spend each year trying to understand or trying to figure out how best to comply?
I don't want to know about the money part, but I can definitely tell you the hours. I mean, it's tedious. It's time-consuming. It's
right.
You know, it's time away from me spending A, with my work, with my team, and B, away from dealing with customers and clients. And, you know, it's valuable time that we lose.
Right. Mike Bray, Christina Scotti was on just a couple moments ago, and she said tax reform was the biggest, most impacting part of the speech. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it was a very big part of the speech, Lauren. The current corporate tax code right now definitely tilts the playing field in favor of big businesses over small. I mean, small businesses, we can't hide our money in low-tax offshore havens, so we need lower tax rates, lower corporate tax rates that help us spend more money growing our businesses and hiring more people and creating new jobs. Republicans and Democrats both agree on this. I mean, Romney's plan and Obama's plans during the election were nearly identical, except for a few percentage points. So let's see some action on this.
Right. That's a good point, that in many ways the tax code is easier for the big businesses because they find different ways and they have more money to figure out those different ways to get around certain things. But, you know...
Absolutely. As it is, we spend 5 figures a year doing our taxes.
Wow. Wow. You know, and everyone's always so fast to criticize ExxonMobil, but they are, I'm pretty sure, the biggest taxpayer in the United States. So this has an impact on the big businesses too. We shouldn't forget that. The other thing that struck me in the speech last night was, you know, all this education spending, increasing the minimum wage, spending $50 billion on infrastructure, $1 billion for 15 different manufacturing hubs. All I heard was dollar figure after dollar figure after dollar figure. And while all of that is good, are you guys worried about what that's going to do to the federal debt and our share of that federal debt? Sam?
Well, I think that I was very happy to hear about education in regards to on-the-job training and reinvesting in our people. And I know at Sales Huddle we deal with a ton of companies who consistently have to worry about staff turnover. And it's a major challenge. It spends an enormous amount of time. We have to figure out how to make sure that the jobs that we create are jobs that stay.
So you're saying you cannot always find qualified workers?
We can't find qualified workers, A, but B, it's making sure the qualified workers continue to stay and grow so the jobs we create are lasting.
Okay. Mike, are you having trouble finding what you consider a skilled and competent worker?
Well, I'm in retail, so the vast majority of my workers are, 2-year college, high school graduates. So, but what Sam said is really important in the sense that I like to see more spending on education. If you remember, when Tim Cook was on several weeks ago on Fox, and one of the things he said is, what prevents Apple from making iPhones in the States is not the labor rate as much as it is the lack of the 30,000 engineers that we need to have, to make 50 million iPhones at a time.
Yeah, and it's astonishing that Mexico graduated more computer engineers than we did. Mexico versus the United States of America.
We should be ashamed of that, and there should be outrage, and there should be spending on that.
Okay. I want to pull up a soundbite of the president speaking about the minimum wage and his push to increase it by $1.75. Let's take a listen to this soundbite.
Today, a full-time worker making the minimum wage earns $14,500 a year, even with the tax relief we put in place. A family with 2 kids that earns the minimum wage still lives below the poverty line. That's wrong. That's why, since the last time this Congress raised the minimum wage, 19 states have chosen to bump theirs even higher. Tonight, let's declare that in the wealthiest nation on earth, no one who works full-time should have to live in poverty, and raise the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour. We should be able to get that done.
I interrupted the president there. I've never done that before. All right, of course he wants to do that by 2015, and we have a great chat from the Facebook page last night as he was speaking, and I want to show it to you guys now. It comes from Sue Childress, and she says, I own a business, and I don't even make $9 an hour, and my tax dollars get to fly him wherever his whims lead him, while I pinch pennies to keep our business afloat. So as small business owners, would you hire more workers if you have to pay them more money an hour?
Right. I mean, it's a personal discussion. I think that increased labor costs is always bad for small business. You know, that being said, it definitely depends on the type of small business. You know, there are some small businesses like myself who we deal in higher quality products and services, and in doing so, we can absorb these costs that, you know, relate to the new minimum wage. But there are definitely small businesses out there that will reduce hiring, and, you know, they will feel this on their revenue line every month.
Okay. Mike, your thoughts?
Lauren, most of my workers make above minimum wage, except for the part-timers in the very first few weeks that they start. So I don't see a major impact on this on small businesses, and I haven't heard from a lot of small businesses saying, you know, that this is something that scares or alarms them. It's something that's going to take place over time, over the next several years. I think if there was an area for concern for small businesses and the minimum wage increase, it would be about timing. You know, at least in my case, I'm not opposed to a minimum wage increase, but let's make sure that we're doing the other things necessary to help small businesses. Like, let's take care of the tax code thing. You know, let's put some of these other measures in place at the same time. I think small businesses, when they hear things like this, what they're afraid of is not the increase itself, Lauren. They're afraid that this is going to get done and none of the other stuff is going to get done. That once again, you know, this will be on the backs of small businesses. And, you know, so for my point, I'm not opposed to it, but let's see all of these things get done. Let's see this as part of the overall package that levels the playing field between big business and small business.
Well
in terms of both of our abilities to move forward.
Because we all know if we pay workers more, especially low-income workers, those are the workers who spend that money, put it into the economy right away. Mike, final question for you. What did you make of the Republican reaction to the speech last night?
Well, if I'm being honest, Lauren, I was a little disappointed. The president's speech was very uplifting and very confident, and I thought by contrast that Mr. Rubio's response was a little bit more of the same kind of I mean, he blamed President Obama for everything except the babies crying and the rain falling. And so where was this new thinking that we've been hearing about from Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor? This was a perfect opportunity for Republicans to showcase this. I mean, after all, we're supposed to be the party of business. Where was that? There was nothing.
Well, Senator Lindsey Graham did nod in approval a couple of times.
That's true. That's true. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
We have to leave it there. Mike Bray, HobbyWorks, thank you so much for joining us once again. And Lauren, Sam Caucci with the Sales Huddle Group. Thank you so much. Really quickly go into some of your chats.